If Georgia were to stumble this year, what are the 3 likeliest losses? Where are they, and why would we lose those 3 games coming up next here on Locked On Bulldogs?
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Got a very Luka Doncic vibe, the intro does these days. Very Euro step. That's what we go for. Welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. My name is Daniel. That over there is Clint. And we are your hosts of this fine podcast. The podcast devoted to and celebrating the reigning national champions of college football, the Georgia Bulldogs. Happy to be part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Happy to be part of Locked On Atlanta. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, head on over and subscribe to the audio podcast so you can listen to us at the gym, on your way to work, wherever it is that you consume podcasts. And if you're listening on audio, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and you can catch us there. Leave us a thumbs up and a comment down below this video. Clint, it's a bit out of our comfort zone. So some people think that we are just ridiculous homers.
Yeah.
Who believe that Georgia will never lose another college football game the rest of our lives. Those people are ignorant.
Correct.
Of most of the things about us. Longtime listeners of the show, all loyal third segment listeners of the show will know that we are no such things.
No.
In fact, Georgia may lose every game this year.
Every single game.
Georgia may lose to Vanderbilt this year.
Yeah.
You understand? That's what we're trying to say.
I do.
Georgia may 6-6 is not a foregone conclusion. Georgia may not make a bowl game this year.
Correct.
So, if and when Georgia does lose a game this year, which we'll probably lose 10-12, but
of course,
if we do lose a game this year in the regular season only, Alabama fans, please listen. We're talking about the regular season only.
They can't, Daniel. They can't.
They can't. They can't do it. Also, we would never lose to your poverty wide receiver-less program. Because why would we? How could we? Someone might have a hangnail, and therefore we will inevitably beat you. If Georgia were to lose a regular season,
of course,
who is most likely for us to lose to? We're going to break it down. Most likely, second most likely, third most likely, as we march through the regular season. And we're going to kind of go back and forth on
I was just going to say, we might have some disagreement on this one, Daniel.
We might have some
not
disagreement. So I'm going to let you lead out because all the cards are on the table between us, by the way. We can talk freely about college football
for
the first time in a while.
This is so great.
For the first time in a while. And so I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on the most likely team to defeat Georgia this year. And then I will I'll weigh in.
Look, there are 2 games that are that are in close proximity to one another that have the talent to do so. It is Tennessee and Kentucky. These 2 games are in close proximity. They have very talented squads and coaching staffs that are doing some things. Although Hoople over in Tennessee, I don't have as much confidence in him as I do in Stoops. I do have to admit he's got an offense up and cooking. I have to admit that because it's the 9th best offense in all of college football. So it's going.
It averaged 0.9 points per game more than Georgia's offense last year.
So one may say our offense was cooking as well.
Was very Whipple-like.
It was interesting. Daniel, I'm gonna stay true to form. This is my chalk. This is my personal chalk. Kentucky scares me, guys. Kentucky scares me. Do you know what 2 things Always, always, always. They travel. They keep consistent. They do the job. There's a running game and defense are consistent.
Okay.
Kentucky has both. Now their running back, they lost. Big blow. But if you don't think Kentucky knows how to get road grading offensive linemen, coach them up and get them going, and then plug in literally anybody in the backfield, they've done that time and time again, as well as a tough defense. Will Levis back there, sure, just run him out there. He's got a cannon. He can chuck it downfield.
He can throw it, and somebody from one of the teams will probably catch it.
More than likely. It's not hitting the ground.
It's not hitting the ground. We know that.
It's Kentucky for me, Daniel.
No, I think it's Tennessee, and it is hard because it is a home game.
Yep.
Versus Kentucky, which is a road game. So you do have that going for you. The world's largest outdoor checkout line at Kroger Field does not scare me as much as the world's largest mustard container, French's mustard container in Knoxville.
Would you ever go to Knoxville without armed service members?
Stop. End your question.
Would you ever
go to Knoxville? There's your question. That's a full question right there. Okay? The answer is unequivocally no in every circumstance. Okay.
Correct.
The answer is Tennessee. I think for me, I do not think Tennessee beats Georgia this year. But and that's not necessarily me saying I think Georgia's therefore they're the most likely. Therefore, I think Georgia's likely to go 12-0. I think if you had to single out one team, yes, they are the most likely to do it. I do think there's a decent chance Georgia loses a game this year to a team. We're going to talk about some other options as we move on down the list. I certainly don't favor Tennessee to beat us. I certainly don't favor any team on the schedule to beat Georgia.
Nope.
But I do think Tennessee has the best shot because if you turn the ball over against Tennessee, if you struggle to score touchdowns against Tennessee, they have the kind of team that can make you pay. Okay? They can put some points on the board. You can find yourself in a significant hole against Tennessee. And that's the kind of game that I think you can lose. And so we'll come back in the next segment. It'll be interesting to see if, for our second most likely team, if our answers just flip or if we go somewhere else. But first, do want to let the people know about BetOnline. BetOnline, as we keep telling you, is your online sportsbook expert. It's college football season. You have just a few more weeks to cash in on all these season win totals.
Get in on
it. Get in on it. You can find some good numbers still out there. BetOnline has all of them, along with your Week 0 lines. They've got player props. They have NFL preseason lines. They have NBA futures. They have Major League Baseball lines. Whatever it is that you like to bet on, BetOnline has it. Clint and I will be back on Thursday with our first locks episode of the year, Week 0 locks. I don't think we're going to be able to fill a whole episode because there's only 4 games on the television, but we're going to be talking about them, and we're going to have thoughts. I've got a couple of stone-cold locks already that I'm ready to give out on Thursday, so check back. Go to BetOnline between now and then. Sign up for a new account. Enter the promo code LOCKEDON. You get a welcome bonus on your initial deposit. That's free money with which to wager at BetOnline, your online sportsbook expert and the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
All right, Daniel, let's go to the second most likely loss. If we were to have a loss, the team that is the second likeliest to beat us, who is that in your mind?
I'm going to go... You mentioned Tennessee and Kentucky were close together, but they're not back-to-back weeks.
No.
And I actually believe the game in the middle.
Here we go.
Against Mississippi State is even more dangerous than the game against Kentucky. It is a road game. Starkville is a tough place to play. They got the cowbells going. And I was just telling this to somebody the other day. Mike Leach is the type of coach that will never, listen to me, never put together a winning season in the Southeastern Conference. He will never contend for the SEC West.
No.
I'm talking about after Nick Saban is dead and buried, he will never contend for the SEC West. But he will, every single year, field a team that is capable of beating any team in the SEC on a given Saturday if the cards fall correctly. Mississippi State is just that type of team. They play an offense that's different enough. They have a salty defense, which Mike Leach is not used to having.
No.
They have a salty defense. They've got an experienced quarterback at Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State is going to be a formidable test this year. Now, they're going to lose some stinkers, okay?
Bad games.
They're going to lose the Egg Bowl. We
Yep.
all know that. But that doesn't mean they're not going to have a squad on the field that couldn't challenge Georgia. And on the road, in between those two SEC East games, that's a game that makes me nervous. And you know who I think would agree with me?
Who's that?
Is John from John Tweet
John
Sports.
Tweet Sport
I
has been-
remember he was saying this almost a year ago.
No, he was on this. He was on this a long time ago,
He
Daniel.
was on this a long time ago.
He
He
was.
talked about this.
He
So,
was.
who do you have as your second most likely team to beat Georgia?
Daniel, this is very interesting because I think it is a tie, and this is what I think the difference in atmosphere and timing do. Tennessee is a far more talented team than Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
But Mississippi State has about the same odds of beating us as Tennessee does, I think. I think they are neck and neck. You're talking a home game. You're talking Hendon Hooker. You're talking Kirby getting another crack at an offense.
Mm-hmm.
He knows this. This is what he does. He lives and breathes. He gave him a quarter to figure out Hoople before, and he figured it out very quickly. It took him a quarter. He's like, no more after this. We're done.
He did.
You gave him a whole year now.
Uh-oh.
And Shoe.
Oh.
And Muschamp.
And oh, no.
Okay. See, you got a little stew cooking then.
Mm-hmm.
No, the whole thing tells me that I think we'll keep them down in that game. But Mississippi State has the ability. They're the type of team. They really, truly are. They're the type of team that are going to do short checkdowns, give what the defense has taken, high percentages, 38 attempts in the first half and 3 rushing attempts, and they're all these weird plays. Mike Leach is fine with that. He's fine keeping within striking defense. And that defense at Mississippi State, y'all, go look at the guys. Go look at the depth chart. Because if you don't know that this is going to be a top 3 SEC defense, they're going to be a top 3 SEC defense. I think it's us, Bama, and them are going to have the 3 best defenses in the SEC. Now, that's scary, Daniel.
It's a scary team. It's a scary team to play on the road late in the season, especially sandwiched in between those 2 SEC East games that everybody's kind of viewing as, and you got the Florida game right before the Tennessee game, and so you really are just stacked up. That month of late October into November, that's going to be a tough stretch for the Georgia Bulldogs. All right, we're coming right back for the third most likely team to upset Georgia this year, and this is the part that you might want to check back for, because
Daniel,
right.
you told the people to check back. They came back because they're now loyal.
They're
third
loyal.
segment listeners.
Loyal
They're
third
here.
segment listeners. All they need is a T-shirt.
T-shirt might be coming, maybe. Don't hold us to that. Secondly, get us the Pick'em invite to you by DMing us on our Twitter as well as emailing us.
Yep.
You can see the handle down below. Let us know you want to be part of the Pick'em, and you can be with us all season long, loyal third segment listeners. But Daniel, the third likeliest game, I kind of cheated, but I took 2 in Tennessee and Mississippi State. I understand that. I'm going to go elsewhere because Kentucky to me is still number 1, Tennessee and Mississippi State number 2, and then Daniel number 3.
Say it.
I don't want to.
Say it.
It's the cocktail party, Daniel. It's the cocktail party. Why? Here's why. 1, it's the cocktail party. Y'all, do you understand?
To be clear, I did not want you to say that. That is not what I want you to say. Listeners, let the record show I was not trying to goad him into saying that. That came as a shock to me.
Here's why. Now, we're talking the third likeliest to give us a loss.
I'm going to be over here in prayer, okay?
This is not going to happen. 3 losses is not going to happen for this Georgia team. 1 loss is barely a possibility. But here's why. If you're telling me Napier what's the easiest way to enshrine yourself into lore of Florida?
Win the Sun Belt.
No, that was how to get hired at Florida.
Ah, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Things change now.
Wrestle a shark.
Well, but did you see the documentary they did on that? That was the best thing I've ever seen.
I'm sorry. Are we talking about Manti Te'o's girlfriend, or are we talking about the shark? because you can't tell me that the I've never seen the shark and Manti Te'o's girlfriend in the same place at the same time. Listen, I'm not saying it was.
Look, we're not trying.
I
can't say it wasn't. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm trying to get at here?
All I'm trying to tell you is I didn't see the oversized necktie knot of Brady Quinn, and to be able to clearly distinguish it wasn't him. That's all I'm trying to say.
Urban Meyer is back on a yacht on Fox Sports Broadcasting, y'all. And in this podcast,
he's coming to you remotely from a yacht every single Saturday. We could not be more excited for it.
Him and Gary Danielson, they deserve each other. So,
by the way, loyal third segment listeners, you just get all the rabbit trails. Why are we sad that the Big Ten stole our music?
Have fun.
Stole our music. Enjoy our music. Fun. You know what comes with our music? Gary Danielson.
I will make that trade every day, twice on Sunday.
You can have the stupid music.
Don't care.
You get Gary Danielson, who, by the way, late kick Josh, no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't say the same things he said.
I would not talk about Alabama the way that he does because I have dignity.
Bet me. Okay.
Thank you.
Cocktail party, Clint. Speaking of your lack of dignity,
here's why. Napier, I guarantee, Daniel, if you right now, today, went to Napier and you said, you will lose every other game, but you will beat Georgia in the cocktail party, he is saying, where do I sign?
Extension. That's a contract extension.
It's a contract extension. That's how you get that. That's how you get the recruits. That's how you win the battles. That's how you spoil a season. All of those things. And Florida is not winning 9 games, 8 games, 7 games, maybe 7, maybe. If this is one of them, their season is made for the entire year.
You're right. You're not wrong.
That's why I think it's the third likeliest.
Okay, third likeliest. And listen, I'm not fudging on this. I do not think it's Florida. And I do not think it's Kentucky.
Oh my gosh.
I'm actually kind of low on Kentucky this year.
Wow, Clint. Good night.
I know.
When it's another 13-9 game in the fourth quarter, you all can thank Daniel.
Listen to me. If it's a 13-9 game in the third quarter, Kirby's winning that game. We don't lose that game. You understand? That's why Tennessee makes me the most nervous.
I lose.
You do lose. You lose about 30 pounds of fluids.
Correct.
That's what you lose. Okay. And I made fun of you for the cocktail party. And I'm about to give you something that's clearly even more ridiculous.
I love this.
But I actually think, I'm being dead serious, that the third most likely game that Georgia loses this season is on September 17th in Columbia, South Carolina. I actually do think this. Now, it's the third most likely game. I'm going to give all the caveats you gave.
Yep. No. Okay.
That means Georgia is not going to lose this game. Okay. It would be extremely unlikely for Georgia to lose this game. But I think it's more likely than them losing to Florida. I think it's more likely than them losing to Auburn. I think it's more likely than them losing to Kentucky. I think it's more likely than them losing to Oregon. I think it's more likely than a lot of these other games. South Carolina is well coached.
Very well coached.
They have talent at the quarterback position. Now, talent.
That's what he said, people.
And they've never had that. Okay, in a long time. I think Shane Beamer is going to put together the type of team that has got a chance to beat a lot of teams this year. I think South Carolina is going to finish ahead of Kentucky in the SEC standings. You want a bold SEC prediction? I think South Carolina will finish ahead of Kentucky in the SEC standings.
What is happening right now? What is happening?
What I think. I think it's also a road game.
Yep.
Columbia, South Carolina is a tough place to play.
Very.
It's early in the season.
Yep.
I already have bubble guts thinking about it, Clint.
Okay.
I don't care for it at all. But that's where I'm going third most likely game for Georgia to lose.
I don't hate that pick, actually. And if you look at the talent that they have talent at the right positions to do it. And Beamer, here's the other thing. Y'all may not have noticed it, but this is like villain origin stories kind of deal. When Shane Beamer got crushed by Kirby last year, do y'all remember his post game interview where he was he was not doing coach speak. Y'all, he was not doing coach. This was a man talking straight from his heart, and he was in complete admiration.
And it wasn't a Dan Mullen make excuses.
No.
Either.
It was that man over there has a program up and running with talent upon talent upon talent, and I haven't seen anything like it before.
And you said, Georgia fan, isn't that sweet? I kind of like Shane Beamer.
Nope.
But watch out. Be careful what you wish for, Mrs. Shamblin. Be careful what you wish for, because
look, he seems innocent and nice until he starts emulating Kirby. See, everybody wants to go ahead and blaze their own path. What if Shane Beamer just looks over there and goes, what if I just try to do what that guy's doing? I'll give it a shot. Now, all y'all be like, oh, he can't do what Kirby does. Yeah, Kirby's the best at it. But Kirby learned it as well and tweaked it to his own liking. Daniel, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all.
It's an interesting pick.
All right. Okay. Well, prepare yourself. I put out a tweet and I told y'all, and many of you thought this was a parody account, and it was not. I'm not. Look, if you aren't prepared mentally and emotionally to lose every single game this season,
that's on you.
That's on you.
We warned you. Get a bucket. You'll need it. You will need it. Okay.
Several times this year. This has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We will see you guys tomorrow.
See ya.